All right, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled day. It's going to be a busy week, and I'm hearing all kinds of interesting stories. I mean, the story of, I understand it around the world, they're contacting the Federal Reserve and they're saying you got to stop increasing, the interest rate. You got to, you're passing your inflation on to us. It's that classic. America sneezes and the world catches a cold. And that's unfortunately the way it's been rolling along. And as you can see, we have the dollar index up there. You can see that. Let's see. You see the dollar's lifting up again. Again, it lifts. It's like they can't stop this thing from going. And it's because, you have a chance of buying it and collecting some interest that compensates for the inflation, and that's alone ignites the inflation even more. So it's the policies more than anything else. If we were allowed to drill, we've got so much oil, and if we were allowed to drill and export, the world would be a lot happier for it. But right now, they don't have that opinion. The administration is just fighting that idea. And this Florida storm that occurred, which was enormous, it was hit Norway. It was hitting New Jersey at the same time, and Norway. And, and it was still touching like the edges of Cuba. Massive storm. And that was from the protons coming off of the sun. We had a blast from the sun. And, it had great influence in contributing enormous amounts of energy into this storm. But what it really comes down to more than anything else is that we're seeing a lot of pressure this week on many directions. We have PPI and CPI coming out this week. We have some earnings. The march goes on. In other words, it keeps on marching forward. We just keep on seeing more and more concerns, and it's really hard to dodge that. That's what it really comes down to. It really comes down to that. We really need to be able to drill, and we need to stop spending money just like as if it's nothing, because it's generating incredible amounts of inflation. So, and I guess that's about my morning rift, really. That's pretty much the name of the game. So let's take a look at what's going on. There's the dollar index. You can see it's pushing up. We closed in a daily buy on Friday. You see it over on Chicago right there. And you can see it also at J4X right there. Same situation, powered up, powering north. At this point, I'd imagine, dollar's just going to be sideways in here. This could be a range. Maybe we're towards the top end of the range, and then it'll come back down again, and then back up again. And in other words, it just looks like a range. It's not letting go, and that's pretty much the nature of it all at this point. Let's see. Do I have anybody up there? No. It's a quiet day. Let's see. Dismiss. There you are. From there, let's go over to the euro. Take a look at the euro. There's the euro. And it's heading back down again. Oh, I see somebody say hello. Hello. Hey, Robin. I don't sound too bad, do I? And let's get it up on Chicago Quant. Yeah, just slow drift for the last couple of days in a sell. Still in that long weekly sell. Every time they try to turn it around, they just cannot get it to go. I really, kind of think what we're really waiting for is the election at this point. I've been saying it for 5-6 months, and all the markets have done is go in that direction. That's really what it comes down to, is the election, 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 and now we're down to almost 4 weeks. Which will be nice. Get this stuff done and over with. Metho 2000. How are you doing today? Yes, indeed. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, is that the marketplace is, is stalled. The dollar, the dollar is firm constantly. Every time it turns right back again into buyers come in for the dollar. And I guess that will go on for a while until we see some clarity of this administration. The way they're draining our strategic reserves in oil has a lot of people concerned. He's sold off half of it. And, Mr. Trump, thank goodness Mr. Trump had loaded it up to historical highs because at this point in time, it makes it a lot more sense. At least we're buying low and selling high. That's a good thing. Now the question is, will we be able to buy this stuff cheaper down the road? That's what it really will come down to. Let's see. So from there, we drift over to the cable. Right there. You can see that. That's not too bad. It's aiming down. And let's see how it looks on Chicago Quad. Right there. And they're dipping it again. It's curving down. And we're in a sell for a third day. Right there. And what else can we say about that? Not much, really. It's just drifting along. I think it's locked in this range between here and down here. Matter of fact, I don't think it'll make those lows again. I think the election's going to turn out really positive, and I think that you're going to see all kinds of opportunity. So we're just kind of holding on and just waiting until it's done and over with. The Fed is buying high and selling low bonds. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't seem to want to stop. It just doesn't want to stop. They're floating a lot of cash. This is so that the government can borrow for what? I have no idea. People are saying, there was like this, what was it? Was it like shovel-ready jobs? Improving products. Over a year and a half now has gone by, and no one sees any of these projects going on. Where did the money go? That's the biggest question. It's trillions. Where did the money go? That's the biggest question of all. And I guess this is going to be very interesting. We have to see how this all plays out in the end. But I think we're going to have a veto-proof majority. I think it's going to be ruckus galore. Democrats are going to be totally frustrated. They're going to be like saying the election was stolen. Remember, you can't steal elections, they say. But all of a sudden, they'll be telling us that the election was stolen, that type of thing. And only the stealers would know, I guess. So, and that's where we stand. And so, looking at the cable, that's what we see, is that it's just chopping along. I don't think they've really beat up the cable that much, compared to, they were talking about lowering taxes. I think they're still going to lower taxes somewhere along the line in England. And that's just the way it's going to go. I think she's going to go on a supply side structure, the new prime minister, and I think she's going to fight to grow. You need growth to resolve these problems. I always like to quote Margaret Thatcher. I always say it here a lot. That is sooner or later you run out of other people's money to spend. And that's where they're at this point. They're running out of other people's money to spend. Yeah, the taxpayer is, it's the taxpayer. And it doesn't have to be that way. It just doesn't have to be that way. So, all right, from there we'll go over to the Swiss. Let's see what the Swiss looks like. Right there. And it's going after the century mark. Wow. Just driving up. So we got to buy. Let's see, where's it at? We got to buy there. And we got to sell there. And then we got to buy right there again. And obviously, being in a weekly buy, you wouldn't want to take any of these shorts. The only thing you could do is take some profits. That's about it. Let's see, the Fed is buying, yep, buying high and selling low. All right, from there, on the Swiss, see how it looks on J4X. Right there. And then I imagine we'll start to see some recovery in China. You know, they'll start to prop up the numbers. Supposedly, the Chinese communists are trying to pressure the opposition by locking everybody down. And then what they'll do is, you know, once it's over with, then they'll stop locking people down and the economy will start to turn up again, which will put pressure on oil. But maybe by then we'll have more control in the United States and we can start to drill again and start to be a world power in oil. It's fine with me. All right. From there, we slide over to the Turkish Lira right there. Let's take a look at the dollar Turkish Lira. It's been really choppy. Really, really choppy. Look at that on Friday. You know, slam. It's like illiquid now. It's acting very illiquid. Wow, that's a scary thing to think about. A major country like that having issues with their currency. Like, you know, making it look illiquid. Yeah, I mean, that's going to start messing up my math, without a doubt. But one thing is for sure, it's not turning the weekly. That weekly is still holding on. A little pressure on it, but nothing major. Let's go over and check out the Euro Turkish Lira. It's starting to look a little illiquid too. It's in a sell for a few days, and it's back into the weekly sell. See what that was. Yeah, that was a minus, so it's still staying in the sell. Wow, just really sloppy action. I don't trade it. But I know one thing: the margins are insane. Like 70% margin, 80% margin, 120% margin. So it's not something you can really trade because there's just no there's no options that can be used, and there's no, they're not liquid enough. And at the same time, the currency itself is just all over the place. But we're in that weekly sell again for what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks now. There we go. All right, from there we slide over to the Canadian. There's the CAD. It's in a buy for 2 days since Friday. Not doing anything particular. And it's still in that weekly buy now for a total of 8 weeks, starting this week, in the 8th week of a buy. It's not letting go, that's for sure. There it is right there. And with the CAD, we jump over to the energy sector. So we have CAD up on the up on J4X with the CAD on same thing, and we'll go over and take a look at the energies on Chicago Quant. Down a little bit. It's been in a daily buy since back in here, since the 80 area. And got up to about 93. It's in a weekly buy from last week. So, I'm not sure what's wrong with this scale. What is wrong with the scale? See, price, reset scale. Let's try that. Because it's always, lately on some of these charts, it's doing that. Reset scale. Maybe that's it. There you go. Okay. There we go. So you can see there, it's, up in the 90s. And you can see, it's been in that strength since the low 80s. So it's up $10. We climbed into the weekly finally last week. It's going to be a lot of pressure on the energy sector because as the winter comes on and the demand for spring inventories need to be built, it's going to be pressuring. And if Mr. Biden wasn't putting 2 million barrels of oil a day into the marketplace through the strategic reserve, it wouldn't have, we would excuse me, fighting my cold here. We'd be seeing much higher oil prices. Now, let's drive ourselves over to the South African Rand. And there is the gold. And gold is pressing down. Last couple of days it's been trying. And it's playing with it today. And we're still in that weekly sell. And let's put South African Rand on there. Right there. So you see it's rising and oil is going, gold is going down. So, it's doing its natural tendency, I guess you call it. It's classic pairs situation. And at this point in time, we don't see anything but this type of pressure. And you can see we were trying to get into the sell for a couple of days. And sure enough, it chased off that weekly buy and drove it into the weekly sell again and making it even look more weak than usual. And then, let's see, where do we go from here? We can do reverse. We'll put these. There it is. There's gold. And let's put South African Rand up there. There we go. See, it's been climbing. Went into the buy right here on Friday. Still pushing. Still in the weekly buy. So the pressure is still on the metals market itself. And we keep on hoping that we'll see something better out of it all, but so far no good. One thing was nice, and that was that silver. They started closing out that pairs trade of gold silver. So that we'll go to that after we finish off the last of the currencies, and we'll take a look at that. And then there's the yen. The yen's banging along the 145 area. And it's in that weekly buy. Trying to curve a little bit here, but still on a weekly buy. There it is. And you see days and days of buying in there, just like we have days and days of buying in here. And we're in that weekly signal there. Let's take a look at the weekly. We don't always go over to the weekly, but we should take a look at it more often. You know, it's been in that long, strong weekly buy right there. I was thinking, is 47 around? When I do the yen, I always think of 47 in the Nikkei. And let's slide over to, that's the yen. So now we'll go to our last one, and that is the Mexican peso. And from there, we'll go take a look at silver and all. Try to get a flavor of what's coming into the future of those products. And you can see there Mexican peso playing with the bottom end of its range. Boy, that weekly is tight. Excuse me. It is tight. Look how tight that is. You know, just holding on. No drive whatsoever. And it's kind of trapped between the 50 percentile and now down to the 0.76. And below that, you know, it's really just flirting with the weakness here. But it's not taking out the low yet. So we'll watch and see what kind of action we get out of that. And that is really pretty much the done with the currencies. And what else can we say about any of that? I guess that's about it. That's the currencies. If anybody cares to see anything else, just let me know. Oh, here we go. Master Doc. Yoda Doc. Qingquan. Some gesture. Let's see, what is it? Some questions on currencies, since sometimes I think I get it, and then sometimes I feel like the fool. I think we all feel like that once in a while in trading, so don't. You're not alone. Let's put it that way. I think I get it. All right. Let's see. The dollar Swiss is currently quoted at 99.85. Does this mean one is used to get basically, yeah. So it's very close. The Swiss franc is heading for $1 full. You're right about that. Yeah. Here, let's go back to it. I am a little surprised it's up there. I really am. I mean, the top end of the range is, what is that? That is like 1.082 or something like that. 10082 or 64, right around there. I am surprised that it's playing with that, because a lot of the other products are not. And I think we've talked about this, for the last couple of weeks, ever since Credit Suisse is having those issues. Money seems to be a little concerned, and so they've been selling. They may be liquidating positions out of Credit Suisse, and between that and the inflation, we saw two things that we seemed to be able to credit. One was I lost my train of thought. Two things. One was inflation. There's no doubt. The moment when we go back and look at this right here, this is where they declared finally. All right, this is where they declared finally we got inflation. And when they did that, look at that. It just took off. That was to start off with. And that might be mainly due to the leverage. So in other words, when you have a Federal Reserve that actually declares that there's something financially going on, you have funds that have to adjust to that. They have to liquidate, or they have to hedge. And then you throw the Credit Suisse problem in, where people were saying that it could literally be like a Lehman moment. That probably scared money even more, because I don't know what swaps they have and how much risk they have, but that would be the factor right there. So if you're feeling a little confused about the Swiss, that's probably what's going on right there. Does that mean, exactly. It's almost at 1, exactly. And then Metho says Swiss is bigger. So the Swiss goes up, it means Swiss is getting weaker. Right, exactly. So there's more Swiss to the dollar, which means that it's losing money. And that's exactly it. It's the reverse of what's going on. So in other words, when you see it go up to $1, it means like, ouch. You really want it at 90, because then you get, 9/10 of a Swiss for $1. But then, when you get to $1 in Swiss, that means it's 1-to-1. That 10% is a lot, especially when you're dealing with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, and they are. There's a lot of money in Switzerland, and it's a refuge. It's a place to go and hide. It's a place to be invested. Park capital in. It's like Frankfurt and London and United States and Tokyo and so forth. They're all places that people park capital in. So, all right, let's see. Bigger silver. So if the Swiss goes up, it means that the Swiss is getting weaker. Exactly. And the euro against the dollar. Now that goes the reverse. So as that goes down, that's getting weaker. So because see, it's in the title. See where it says Euro USD, and then with Swiss it's USD Swiss. So in other words, whichever one is up front of the title of the currency, it tells you. So in other words, you know that it's following the dollar. When the dollar rises, it's picking up strength against the local currency, and vice versa. If it's euro against the dollar, then as it rises, it's gaining against the dollar. I'll say that one more time too. So when it's euro, if it was dollar euro, it would be the reverse. But when it's euro dollar, as the price goes up, the euro is gaining against the dollar because it's euro against the dollar. And Swiss is the vice versa because it's a dollar Swiss pairs trade. And that is, gaining value, and that means that the Swiss is going down in price. It's losing money. How's that? Does that help you? I know sometimes it gets a little complicated here. Dollar is bigger. Yep. And then so Selva says it's this reverse thing that messes up my banana fly brain. No, it's you have to. I always say breathe, relax, breathe. You have to look at the title of it, and so it's important to look at the title. And so then, what I do is I do my webinars all what I call Eurocentric. So in other words, I don't show you, like in the United States, we do the reverse. We got all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So we look at yen dollar instead of dollar yen, and it's hard. Everybody in the world looks at the other way around. And so I do it like everybody, like as if I'm living outside the United States. And that's the best thing I could do, I don't make it. I make it Eurocentric in a sense. That's why I've been saying this ever since I started the webinars. We do it Eurocentric. This way, you can relate to it better. I hope that helped. And so it's just a title, nothing more than that, and it's just reversed. And so, like most Americans right now, they look at it and they go, okay, it's the yen dollar pairs trade, or in this case here, it's the Swiss dollar pairs trade, the reverse, and it's like 1 point. I guess it's almost 2. Is it going to 2 or is it going to 1? I could look it up. I'll tell you in a second. Because here in the States, they do that. They, okay, where's it? There it is. There's the currencies. Yeah, so right now, what do we have up on the screen? Excuse me. We have the Swiss up there. So where is it at? Why am I not seeing it? I'm seeing the Mexican peso, Canadian, the euro, British pound, the yen. They're not showing me the Swiss. I don't know why they're not. I can tell you this. Let's go put the yen up there. And right now the yen is... Where is that? There's the yen. And it's trading at 145. And in America, we look at it at a price tag of... Where's it at? 69.04. So that's where it's at. 69.04. And the British pound is 110.65. I think it trades it the same way. Dollar yen. Where's it? Let's go take a look at the British pound. That one's the norm. Yeah, that's the norm. So we trade it the same way. And then Canadian, we're looking at 72.81. I don't know why I'm not seeing the overall. Let's see if I can find it. British pound, Canadian. I guess they're not trading the Swiss anymore. That's hard to believe. On the futures exchange. Huh. But that's what that is. And so it's not banana brain. It's just it just gets a little complicated sometimes. It's all easy when you quote versus dollar, but gets complicated if you trade non-dollar pairs. Right. Well, in the end result, notice all our charts chase after the popular ones. So in other words, the world really follows dollar Swiss. Also, the world follows euro dollar, and the world follows a GBP dollar. And so Canadian, everybody follows dollar CAD. But here in the States, we follow it the other way around. So it's 72 cents instead of a dollar. What is that? Let's go put it up there real quick. I hope that helps you out. There it is. Right now it's at $1.37. And in and it's 72. Usually I always thought it was inside, so it's a premium on it. That's what it is. The difference between, in other words, you divide it by 2. So in other words, that's how that works its way out. But there's also, when you're looking at futures versus spot, there's a premium on it. Cost to carry, all that stuff. So also, in the end result, we don't follow any of those fundamentals. We just trade the product. Our math picks up the action of the price itself. It's price action, our work. And we just follow the price action. And the price action gives us, good insight. I hope that helped you out a little bit. If you have any more questions, don't be afraid to ask. It's okay. Believe me. It's good. It's good. There's probably other people out there going, I don't understand this. It's better that we talk about it than not talk about it. All right. So, from there, let's go over to silver. But if you want to talk about currency, I'll go back to currency. Trust me. No problems whatsoever. Now let's go over to silver and take a look at the silver contract. And there it is there. It's in a sell for 3 days. It's flirting today with a weekly sell. And it was just one fun ride for a short period of time. They closed out their position. Maybe, that seems to have correlated with the problems with Credit Suisse. So, maybe money was leaning up against, in other words, they were hedging off, they had pairs trades in there or something like that. Or they thought that it was a really safe trade, and they put on gold, silver pairs trades, and then when Credit Suisse looked like it was going to have problems, they closed their positions out. That's so cool. Thank you very much. I try my best to be insightful. And if I can't figure it out, maybe Robin can figure it out. And if Robin can't figure it out, we can always find answers to anything. We've been in the markets together for almost 100 years now. Me 45, him about 50. So we have seen everything. I mean, Robin used to trade eggs. Yeah, eggs. Robin has been trading so long that Robin set the price for the S&P 500 the first day it traded in the pit. A couple guys looked at Robin and said, "What price should we set this thing at?" All right, let's see. And Robin set the price, and he was like the first trade in S&Ps. So we've been around so long, we come up with all kinds of weird things, I guess you could say. And that is what it is. But thank you very much for the compliments. Let's see, where are we at this point? Let's go to copper. With the way China is right now, you would think that, it's down at the low end of its range. And I imagine once the Communist Party Congress ends, then we'll start to see, some action again into the copper. And so I imagine it'll kind of feed off of that. And you can see there we're in a daily sell from here. It's trying to lift again there. And we're 4 weeks in a sell. And then we'll go over to platinum today and see what the platinum's doing. There's January platinum. And, ooh, that hurts. Look at that. They drove it into the sell. It's underneath the weekly sell now as we speak. So whatever instigated, I thought it was kind of odd that the silver took off before the platinum. I mentioned to be careful because of that. Usually platinum takes off first. In this case here, platinum took off after silver. So I'm thinking that there must have been some type of pairs trade. Let's see, before Buffett was Robin was trading. I think Buffett's been trading since the 1950s or something like that. I think Buffett's been involved since the 50s. His dad was a congressman, and he got to know a lot of people and started investing. And I mean, he doesn't have a great return, but he has a good a good return. I know people say that he's fantastic, but I don't see the odds. I mean, you could have been invested in the S&P 500 just as easily and made the same amount of money. So it's kind of more hype than anything else when it comes to Buffett. He's definitely a good marketeer, and like I said, he's benefiting from a very good American economy over the decades, and it's many decades, and the dollar cost averaging of it all. All right. From there, let's see what we got here. Let's go to, I guess we'll go to energies at this point. So let's take a look at crude. And let's take a look at Brent. And there's Brent. Brent 97. Look at that. Playing with the almost 100 mark now. And You see crude is, flirting, but it's still in a buy. It's in the weekly buy from last week still. So they're flirting with a little weakness here, but I don't think there's going to be much. Let's go take a look at the back month, the January contract. You can see there, it's trying to back off a little bit also, but still in that weekly buy as we speak. And then from there they go to Nat Gas. Here's American Nat Gas up on J4X, hanging underneath the $7 area, and it seems like it's okay. There is talk of exporting our natural gas, so that would be nice. Nice smiley face, 2000. Thank you. NZD chance of a bounce up. Let's check it out. We have somebody following NZD right now. Yeah, let's check that out. It's in a daily sell for the moment, and I think it's in a weekly sell too, so it has its issues, as I would say. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. There we go. And we got 3 days in a sell. We've been in a weekly sell for 2, 4, 6, 8, going on the 9th week. I would imagine, you would think we'll see a bounce, but not now. Not until we get, a green line. We need to get above the histogram here, and also would be nice to see a weekly buy too, before you want to, load the boat up, that type of thing. Oh wait a minute, that's euro. Forget that. I'm looking at the wrong thing. There it is. 3 days in a sell also there, and it's also 2, 4, 6. This is the 8th week. Okay, and we'd like to see the weekly at least start to turn up, and at the same time, it's been in that slide since the 62 area, and it's taken it down to the 56 area. So we have a little more work to do here. I would be very cautious. Matter of fact, I thought that was kind of interesting. We went into a buy, we went into a sell, we went into a buy 2 days later, and then we went into a sell again. It's kind of telling us that the pressure is on the downside. So I don't see any sign of a bounce yet. But, tomorrow brings another day. That's why we watch the math the way we do every day. It gives us insight to what's going on, and it gives us a heads up before the event. So most 8.5 out of 10 times our math is going to be ahead of the price action itself. So it'll predict it before it happens. So in this case here, it's in a weekly sell. It went into a daily sell 3 days ago, and it was a winner chicken dinner. For a bounce, you've seen some little bounces out of it, but it's not anything you want to be brave about. Like take profits type of thing. It's kind of sluggish with no real, energy. And the sells have been winners, and the buys have been just quick bumps and then rolling over. So I hope that helps you there. All right. So from there, let's close that. So then from there we go over to, we sold the natural gas. We have natural gas up on J4X. Let's put natural gas up on Chicago Quant. There it is right there. You see it's being pressured, nat gas, and it's trying to lift a little bit today. But we're still in that weekly sell. Let's take a look at that Spanish company we've been following. It gives us a little flavor of what's going on in Europe. We've seen natural gas come down from the 9s, and we've seen that stock come down from, is that it right there? Yeah, that's it, I think. And the stock has come down to 23 from 30. So the pressure is on this product. there's talk that we're going to be exporting natural gas to people, and UAE's going to export natural gas to Europe. So we're seeing some positive signs there. It is what it is. At the same time, Norway is now importing natural gas into Poland. So we're seeing, a lot of positive signs there, and the fear. Let's see. The fear is pretty much maybe we're coming towards the end of the natural gas problems. I know it doesn't look that way, and Putin fired some rockets into Ukraine over the night, and so forth and so on. He's such a bully, He is a bully. He's really poking the bear, as far as I'm concerned. And the bear, to me, is Ukraine, because he's the bully. He's not a big bear that you fear. Instead, he's the opposite now. He is a bully. And bullies usually have something to hide. That's usually the problem for a bully, is they have something to hide. And in this case here, what he probably has to hide is that his country is falling apart from his leadership. All right. From there, where do we go from there? That was Nat Gas, and that was that gas company in Spain. So we have a good flavor of what's going on there. Let's take a look at the stock indices. And there is the S&P 500 right there. Let's open up the 4 stock indices. And so right there at the top left corner is the S&P 500. It's up 11, almost 12 points. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average is to its right. It's up 121 points. And then NQs are up 26 points. And Bitcoin is, I'd imagine, it's up a little bit. Let's see. We'll find out in a second when it spills out. Let's see if we can get a flavor of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up a little bit, but I'm not seeing a price. It'll fill in. Let's see what we can do here. See if it'll fill in there. So what we see is we're seeing stock indices try to lift up a little bit here. They put some real pressure onto them on Friday. I was a little surprised that they took a slam at it, but it was up for the week, which was kind of impressive. Let's go over to so there's let's see. So that was Friday. So that was Monday. So it settled at 3,600 on the Friday before, and we settled at 3,650. So it was up for the week, even with a big slam at the end of the week. Nasdaq. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. I mean, it was a big, powerful slam down, and Nasdaq was closed at 11,058 on Friday. And then it settled at 1196. So it was up for the week. And then the Dow Jones Industrial Average, again, had closed at 28,821 and settled at 29,345. So they barely beat the daylights out of that one. That's good. So out of the three, the Dow held pretty well. There is talk by a lot of money managers that they're going to start reaching for industrial stocks. It's interesting. It happens that way. You know, they pick out sectors, they start leaning into them because they figure that they're going to be the first parts of growth. And then as the industrial stocks start to take off, then they start to they thin out those and get into other stuff. Wait, I'm looking at those pictures. You know, the bully fires rockets at people. All right, where else are we at this point? From there, we're looking at, let's see. So there's the stock indices. Oh, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Right there. And it looks like it's unched. Closed at 19,410. Right now it's trading at 19,470. So it's up about $50. And it's still in that weekly sell. It got very close to getting into a buy on Friday until they slammed it. Let's see. It's the part before the bunker and the pill. Yeah, really. I think he has too much money. You know, they say he's worth half $1 trillion. I think he'll just disappear. He'll park himself somewhere where some country will protect him, and you know, he'll live the rest of his life out that way. I mean, he's got $500 billion parked in bank accounts across the planet. You know, I don't know how well they'll be able to accumulate them away from him. Even if he can only hold on to 100 billion, you know, he'll still live a fat life. Yeah. Unfortunately, you know, he'll probably go down in Russian history as someone who started off well and then, you know, abused the whole system. You know, like classic thug, you know, unfortunately. I really had hopes that he was going to, you know, be a peacemaker, but nah, he's just another bully. All right. Let's see what else we got to say about any of this. I guess that's about it. Doc is not feeling too well, so I think I'm going to dive out here. And what else can we look at real quick out of all this? Let's just go take a look at the stock indices. There they are. Oh, it still didn't update. Oh, there we go. Now it's down 65. And the S&Ps are down up 10. The Dow's up 113. So it's orbiting around. The bunker and the pill. I like that. Nah, he'll escape. He's too much of a thug. You know, he doesn't care about anybody. I think that, you know, the bunker and the pill usually is like somebody that actually believes in what he's doing. I really think that he's just taking advantage of the society itself. I really do. I don't think he believes in anything. I think he, you know, just solely because of the way he set up the oligarchs and the money and the system. You know, he could have set it up and created laws, you know, that would help grow the country. The fact that he didn't do that tells us that he doesn't really care. He's not interested. He's just trying to, you know, collect as much as he can out of it. You know, there's been talk that he could be even worth $1 trillion at this point. But I know one thing. We saw when the Panamanian Bank was hacked, he had $300 billion in it, in his name, in Panama. That was back in, I guess that's like, oh, I don't know, that's like 15 years ago. So think about the growth in the country and the economy and so forth. He could easily be, half a trillion at this point, if not more. Alrighty, traders, we're out of here. We will catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. I will be feeling stronger too. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Ta-ta for now.